looking at this old derelict building, which I sort of fell in love with. I also really loved Lefkara. I mean, it's such an authentic
It is
village,
beautiful.
right? It's got so much history. I mean, you can see the Venetians there, the Ottomans there. There's something really felt authentic to me. And I saw this old building, and I was like, wow, that would be a really good hotel. So I asked the chap who had the coffee shop, and he was like, yeah, it used to be a hotel, and now it's been derelict for like 15 years, and they're all in arbitration, so they're like all suing each other. And I was like, all right, don't say anymore. I don't want to deal with that at all. And it was actually about 6 months later, I was talking to a friend of mine. We were having lunch somewhere, and we were talking about cycling tourism in Cyprus. And I was saying, it would be a great place. It's like that hotel up in Lefkara. And he says, randomly, I know the mayor in Lefkara, so let me give him a call. Let me ask what the situation is. And after about 15 minutes of Greek conversation that I couldn't understand anything of at that point, he said, you know what, they've actually just sorted out the whole court case. And about a week ago, it went, on the market. And I was like, pack up your things, we're going out there. Started negotiating, I think, about 3 weeks after we signed the deal.
I'm Farah Shamas. Welcome to Hotel Talk. We hope you enjoy listening to this friendly conversation between people connected by real life in hotels. Yay, we're back for a really good hotel talk today because I have a fellow hotelier with me. It's Aleksander Eng, or Alex Eng, who is the owner of the Agora Hotel, which is an amazing boutique hotel in Lefkara village, so not too far from St. Raphael, and definitely worth a visit whenever you're coming to Cyprus, any time of year. I'm in love with your hotel, Alec.
Thank you very much.
You and your gorgeous wife have done an amazing job with it.
I appreciate that.
So welcome to our podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Let's start with you. Let's start at the beginning. Let's go back to the beginning. Where are you from? Where did you grow up? Tell us a bit about your life.
Yeah, I think, my life very much paved the way for why I'm in hospitality, really. I'm originally Danish, half Norwegian. I grew up most of my junior life in the UK.
Hence the very British accent.
Outside of London. And then sort of just, I've been traveling the world with my parents and my father's job. And
what did your dad do?
So my father was in business trading commodities, and we just had, we always had people over for dinner, lots of business acquaintances. My mum was always in the kitchen cooking, and I was kind of always just the fly on the wall, crawling around under the table, watching, what I believe is real hosting and hospitality, right? We would always have like 12, 14, 20 people over for dinner. And it was just this very warm feeling of everybody was welcome. And like I said, I think that really paved the way for why I love having people over, let's call it. Then after finishing high school, actually, I chose not to go to university. I chose to start working instead.
Wow. How did your parents find that? How did they take that?
So my father passed away when I was about 11, so he would not have accepted that. But I think my mum knew that school wasn't really my thing. I mean, no matter how hard she tried to get me to do homework and go to school on time, I think it was just a lost cause, really.
An upward battle.
Yeah. So I very randomly started working in this very new concept in Copenhagen called Joe and the Juice, and fell in love with it. Was really good at what I was doing, became a manager there quite quickly. And I ended up actually investing in the company at a very early stage. So I, borrowed from friends and family and wherever I could kind of find a penny, invested everything I had into what I believed in this company. And then we grew it to about 250 stores all over the world.
It's huge. It's still huge.
Yeah. I came back from London, and it's literally now on every corner in London, which is really cool to see. I then moved to New York to expand Joe and the Juice to America. And about a year after I moved there, we sold to an American private equity firm. and I ultimately sold my part of the company and
So
stopped.
you didn't keep any shares?
No. That was a
That
it
was
was
the
an
deal.
amazing chapter. I met some amazing people, learnt, I think my head grew to twice the size. And then I was like, this chapter is now
It's done.
finished. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you ever feel nostalgic for it, or do you ever have a what if? Or
No, I'm kind of like I said, I still have a lot of friends from Joe and the Juice, and I'm very content. I don't have this very personal tie to it. I think it was always the plan to invest and build it up and do my best, and then kind of, let somebody
exit.
else take over. And I think also when you do sell a company like that, when you're very young and it's a startup, it's a very different dynamic to when you get bought out by like private equity, and it becomes very, very professional, which it needed to. But maybe that's just not what I really thrive in and what I enjoy. I think I love the struggle kind of, and I love the bootstrapping of things, and I know that's where my value lies as well. So I think it was the right time, and not nostalgic at all, just really
That's
happy.
amazing. Yeah, really inspirational. I love that, because I think so many people get so caught up in that
And I was very
emotional
fortunate.
attachment.
Very fortunate at a young age to be able to do that and become financially independent as well. And after I sold, I traveled the world. It was literally one of those where you would wake up in the morning and I'd be like, it's snowing in the Alps. Let's go to the Alps and go skiing. And then 2 days after, let's go to Mexico. So I really got to enjoy a lot of different hotels as well. And I really started to kind of make my mind up on what I really liked about hotels and what kind of hotels maybe that didn't fit me so well. So that's
You mean before investing in Agora?
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
So were you thinking in that interim period where you were traveling around, like, I wouldn't mind doing hotels, or not?
No, not at all.
It was subconsciously.
It was very subconscious.
So which was your favorite hotel then, from all these probably hundreds of hotels that you've seen in your
I think,
time?
there's a hotel in Pamplon Beach in Saint-Tropez called Epi. I think that's probably my favorite hotel.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's absolutely amazing.
Wow.
And their whole ethos is, it's like, this is your summer house, right? And it's super, super good. And it's just really chill. I mean, it's nothing extravagant. It's an amazing location, really well made. It's every little detail that you would want if you were to think of like, all right, if I had everything, how would I make my perfect little summer house, like secluded summer house? And for me, I also quickly found out that luxury for me doesn't lie in, gold and extravaganza. Luxury for me lies in the well thought out details. And like, are the slippers placed exactly where I need them when I need them? Where you think of kind of like, oh, it would be nice with a pair of slippers now. And then you look down and they're right there. That's the kind of detail.
The devil's in the detail. Yeah.
That's luxury for me, 100%.
Yeah, absolutely. And just how it makes you feel.
Yeah.
It's not about the taps being gold.
No.
But if all your problems are solved before you even know you've got them, the slippers are there, the menu's where it should be.
Exactly.
Your coffee's the right temperature, whatever it is.
100%.
That's all,
100%.
Yeah.
It's all in the details for me.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
So why do you think Joe and the Juice was so successful? Because there's many coffee shops, there's many juice bars, there's many sandwich places.
Yeah.
What is it about Joe and the Juice that...
So first of all, it was founded by my ex-partner, Casper. And, his theory was at that time, it was founded in 2001. So bear in mind, it's quite a while ago now. And at that time, there was very, very little healthy fast food. And he was traveling the world because he was a professional athlete and was not being able to kind of keep the balance of eating healthy. So it kind of spurred out of that. But then it sort of developed into, he hired his mates to come and work, and the dynamic became very fun. And people kind of latched onto that dynamic and really loved the way that the whole feeling was when they came into the shop. Not only were they getting a good product, but they were getting a joke, they were getting uplifted, like all the people working there were super happy. Like you would literally leave the store and be happy. And it kind of became more of a culture movement than selling products. So we used to say we sell products to fund our culture. And that was really what we were doing. Like we weren't spending money on marketing. We were spending money on like flying everybody out to Ibiza and just having fun for a long weekend. And it really became this place of, we were playing loud music and we were just doing what we liked, really.
As young lads,
yeah,
who had their own coffee shop, basically.
And we were often criticized by some for being very flirty with guests. And it was never about that. It was just about us feeling confident about what we were doing, what we were selling. And, when you say good morning to a guest who comes in a very happy voice, and you actually mean it, and you're not just some employee that has been told to say good morning, that can sometimes come across as a little bit weird.
Yeah.
But it wasn't. It was very, very genuine.
Yeah,
and
it's
very
true.
authentic.
Have you seen it? There's a sketch that's going around social media making fun of Northerners. I mean, the UK. So the Northerners are more friendly than the Southerners, or more openly, some would say.
Yeah.
And so it's, all these Londoners in shock because someone from Manchester came and said,
I saw
good
that.
morning. It's so
that.
true, because I think we're so caught up in our everyday life.
Yeah.
And that we pass through things, we don't say hello. And then suddenly if someone comes and goes, hello, how are you? You're like, weirdo. Yeah.
What are you trying to do?
Yeah, what's wrong with you?
Yeah.
That's amazing. But then, but that's one shop. How did you then do that to 240 shops? Like, how did that culture seep through?
I think, and you'll know because you're in the hospitality business, and HR is always going to be one of the most difficult things, right?
Yeah.
So expanding that, cost a lot of grey hairs, and that was by far the most difficult thing. But again, through culture, we used to rent massive houses in New York and like fly in a team of 20 people from Denmark that had that culture. It was just about doing social events all the time and really getting people into the culture of Joe and the Juice. So one of my primary jobs was literally taking our staff out all the time. Yeah. Lots of partying.
I love it. That's what my dad always says, like, find something you love to do and then find someone to pay you to do it.
Exactly.
It's so true. And when I started off, because I was telling you I was in sales and marketing, so I was just entertaining the whole time.
Yeah.
So 4, 5, 6 nights a week, I was entertaining. I was traveling to different countries and entertaining agents. And, especially in my 20s, it was perfect. I was like, every...
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was the same for me. I was fortunate enough to get to eat at some of the best restaurants in the world and drink some of the best wine in the world. And it was just part of our company culture. And it was just part of our jobs, really, to do that. So, yeah, very, 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 very lucky to...
Could you do it now?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
I think,
even though you're a daddy now.
I've had a good stint at just really calming down.
Yeah.
Part of my reason for coming to Cyprus was actually just to de-stress.
Yeah.
I started cycling a lot when I came.
So tell us about that. So you ended up, you were traveling all over. How did you come to Cyprus? I know you've told me before, but say it live on camera.
Yeah.
How did you come to Cyprus?
I was looking for a place, like I just said, where I could really get back into balance. Mentally, physically. I've always been very, very active. And I'd really gotten out of that. I'd been working, obviously, day and night. Eating a lot at good restaurants takes its toll as well. So I was researching lots of different places where I could get the most amount of sun possible. I wanted to be in Europe, and I wanted to be a place where I could do as much cycling as possible. So I'd gotten into cycling. I really love the exploration part of cycling, that you can go really far, you can cover some distance, and it's still fast enough to get my sort of my adrenaline pumping, right? And I came across Cyprus on a cycling blog. I packed my backpack, just jumped on a plane, had no idea about Cyprus, barely knew where it was on the map. And on the plane, I remember there was Wi-Fi on the plane. I was booking a hotel, and I booked Casale Panayoti because I was like, this is the middle of...
I love that hotel, and we've had them on this podcast.
Oh, yeah. I booked it because I was like, that's the middle of the island. So I'll just go out from there and figure out where I want to stay. Little did I know it was like in the middle of the forest, and it was really difficult to get anywhere from there.
And to get there from, I mean, if you landed in Larnaca, it took quite a while to get up there.
So I rented a motorcycle, and I think I did 3,000 kilometers on my motorcycle within like the first 2 weeks.
Wow.
And I just covered the whole island. Found out I really wanted to stay in Pavos. So I actually stayed in Mintis for 3 years.
Wow, for 3 years.
And there I didn't drink alcohol. I was just eating clean, and I was cycling. I think I did about 14,000 kilometers a year on my bike just in Cyprus.
Amazing.
And I really got back into shape, best shape of my life. Felt amazing, kind of really got my mind back into a healthy state. And then I was like, okay, whenever something pops up that I really feel passionate about, that's when I'll start working again.
Amazing. And so, okay, tell us more. Okay, so you were there for 3 years.
Yeah.
And then you decided to stay. But then what happened? Like, how did you go from Paphos area then to Lefkara? How did you decide to get into hotels?
I got invited to a wedding in Lefkara. And again, I wasn't drinking. So I got up early in the mornings at 6 a.m. after the wedding, and I went for a bike ride. And when I got back from the bike ride, I stopped in the middle of the village and had a coffee. And I was like looking at this old derelict building, which I sort of fell in love with. I also really loved Lefkara. I mean, it's such an authentic
It is
village,
beautiful.
right? It's got so much history. I mean, you can see the Venetians there, the Ottomans there. There's something really felt authentic to me. And I saw this old building, and I was like, wow, that would be a really good hotel. So I asked the chap who had the coffee shop, and he was like, yeah, it used to be a hotel, and now it's been derelict for like 15 years, and they're all in arbitration, so they're like all suing each other. And I was like, all right, don't say anymore. I don't want to deal with that at all. And it was actually about 6 months later, I was talking to a friend of mine. We were having lunch somewhere, and we were talking about cycling tourism in Cyprus. And I was saying, it would be a great place. It's like that hotel up in Lefkara. And he says, randomly, I know the mayor in Lefkara. So let me give him a call. Let me ask what the situation is. And after about 15 minutes of Greek conversation that I couldn't understand anything of at that point, he said, you know what? They've actually just sorted out the whole court case. And about a week ago, it went, on the market. And I was like, pack up your things, we're going over there. Started negotiating, I think, about 3 weeks after we signed the deal.
That's amazing. It was all meant to be.
It was sort of meant to be, right?
Yeah.
And, in between that, I spoke to Emily, who's my partner, who's actually a sports psychologist. She has nothing to do with design. I asked her, should this be the thing that we do? Like, should we build a hotel and run a hotel? She's been working at some amazing places, Nim in Copenhagen, which is an amazing hotel as well, one of my favorites. So she has hospitality background, and she, is just as crazy as I am. So she was like up for it, and she ended up, designing the whole hotel.
I mean, and what a design! It's just amazing.
Yeah.
No one would know that wasn't done by
professionals.
Yeah, well, I mean. But saying that, what are professionals? Guys are professionals. You have more experience than most people. You've seen, you know what you like. But okay, people always think professional, someone who's sat down and studied it for 5 years and had 20 years working just in design.
Exactly.
But the design is just fabulous. Yeah.
It's designed like a home, right? Yeah. It's just, it's just like a living room.
And you kept so much authentic, like even the cupboards, with the heights and with the the birthdays,
the names of birthdays of the kids,
of the children, which is tell us a bit about all these traditions that you found. I think it probably did help, like coming with a fresh eye to Cyprus. And so not growing up with things like, that's just normal and it's junk. Like as a foreigner coming in, a new eye, new look, and saying, I find that interesting, other people will as well.
Yeah, yeah.
So what did you keep that was
I think I say that to a lot of people. A lot of people ask me, like, how did you come here? Why did you do this here? And I was like, I think if you came to like my hometown in Denmark, you would see things that I've never even thought about. And I think I agree with you a lot that it takes a new set of eyes, and also just knowing what we like. Everything there is based on what Emily and we like. It's basically our home. And And then we just curated things that we liked and didn't think about what other people would want. We were like, if we believe that if we'll like it, other people will follow. We want to build a concept of things that build a hotel for ourselves.
Yeah,
basically.
and that makes sense to you. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense to us. And then that's what, that's the storytelling that we'll do. And hopefully there's enough people out there that will want that curated experience where they just come into our home.
Well, I think so, for sure. Oh, we were laughing so much. I was at an event here at our hotel, which I organised the other day, and I was drinking my smoothie out of your Agora bottle.
Oh, yeah.
And then somebody just went, Farah, shouldn't you be using one of your St. Raphael? And I was like, you know what? I love all the hotels in Cyprus, so I just have them. I don't think, and I'm like, yeah, I'll advertise Agora. Why not?
Yeah.
There you go. That's
and
my
that's the way it
smoothie
should
one.
be, like we were talking about before,
Yeah, what's good for each of us is good for everyone.
100%.
Like, people need to come and explore Cyprus. It's amazing.
I agree.
I love that. Okay, so got so many questions here for you. Let me go down some of them because we've been chatting away. So, guest stories. I love asking this. Do you have any memorable or like funny stories from either as a guest or with guests in the hotel?
Oh, with guests in the hotel, you've got so many stories, haven't you? I think that there's this. So we have this stigma. I think it's probably all over, but a lot in Denmark and Norway as well, of Cyprus being this all-inclusive place, right? And so I was recently, or last year, I was in the financial newspaper in Denmark telling my story. And there was this woman who comes from a very posh neighborhood in Denmark who says, I want to have my 50th birthday at that hotel. And her husband says, you're going to do it alone because we go to like Saint-Tropez and Cannes. We don't go to Cyprus. And she was like, all right, I'll just book it myself then. And you can come if you want to or stay at home. So she booked it, and with her grown-up kids as well. And they had like 4 rooms. And then they came down, and he came obviously as well.
Yeah,
the husband always
tail tucked in, following.
And I think 2 days passed by, and he was in the reception, and he's telling me this story of like, I did not want to come down here and so on. And then he booked for like 6 months ahead for him and a bunch of his mates to come cycling. And he was like, my view has just completely changed of Cyprus.
Isn't that nice?
The nature is so vast. Like, it's so beautiful here. The climate is great. The people are so nice. Completely changed my view. I'm coming back. Like, forget the south of France. This is our new place.
Yeah.
So it's just, it's cool to be off the beaten track a little bit. And it's cool to be that place where, it's not expected. I love being the unexpected.
Yeah, it's
true.
I
think Cyprus really has that. We have a lot of guests, we call them the explorers, right? Who rent a car and they use the Agora as their kind of home, and then they go all over the island, or they go and stay at different hotels all over the island, and they just come back with such enthusiasm and like such love for the island. And I'm like, that's what I feel too, and I'm so happy that.
Yeah, it does. It draws people in. We've always said this. Also, I'm international background. So many of my friends are that grew up here, and we laugh because people have gone and lived all over the world.
Yeah.
And one friend after living years in America, got married here, and his parents were just like, "Why? You lived in so many places. You've got all these opportunities. Why?" And it just sucks you back in. Like everyone. I was talking to another lady yesterday. She's not from here. They had a holiday home. And then, I don't know how old she was, 40, 50 years old, and said, I'm going to go live there.
Yeah.
And never regretted it.
Yeah.
It's an amazing place. And it's amazing throughout the year.
It is.
That's not a marketing technique. Like, the best time actually now is in winter.
Yeah.
It's green. You can, I don't cycle, but I go on hikes and walks. And, You just explore everything. It's not too hot.
So much to do.
Yeah.
It was snowing in Lefkara the other day.
I heard
Yeah.
it was snowing. Oh my goodness, it's been crazy. It got so cold. But okay, it's only like 5 days of the year that it's cold.
Listen, for me, I think
But-
I love it. I love
Yeah.
that there's a little bit of a change, especially for us. You know, we're in 600 meters of altitude, so we have seasons.
Yeah.
and it's great. And you know, our guests now are sitting by the fireplace. You know,
Yeah.
and it's just such a nice time.
Yeah, it's so true. You know, Cyprus back in the 70s, early 70s, before the invasion, like Famagusta really attracted, like it had massive names. I mean, Brigitte Bardot, and I can't remember who else. There was so many famous people coming here, and it was the Saint-Tropez, south of France vibe. And then obviously after the invasion, that's when, you know, everyone was a bit dubious. Tourism took a few years to kind of reboot. And when it did, everything had kind of come up very quickly, been built quickly. So we ended up with this mass tourism model.
Yeah.
And then, of course, being an island, it is what it is. People can't drive here. So we were very much reliant on tour operators putting on charter flights, filling those seats. And then the hotels, as far as tour operators are concerned, we're only the bait. You know, they need to sell the seats to make their money. Because that was, of course, before vertical
That's
integration.
such a different world for me. Like, I have no idea how that whole thing works. And when I heard that we sell 80% occupancy to a tour operator, I'm like,
because
how does that even work? So you're just a shell.
The bigger models are like that.
Yeah,
And then, of course, there was linear integration. The tour operators then got their own airlines. Instead of chartering, then they started owning their own hotels. So there was this huge shift in dynamics in the 90s and early 2000s. All-inclusive became a thing. Yeah. And then it wasn't even nice all-inclusive. It was, you know, go pour your own beer and grab your own ice cream.
Well, I guess it's all about efficiency then, right?
Yeah, and just keeping numbers down, staffing costs. But tourism has changed massively. Like, people's demands have changed, and COVID has made it change again, you know, once again. So I think we are seeing huge changes in the industry, and it is really, really interesting. I mean, we offer all-inclusive at Saint Raphael. Yeah. But it's basically, you're just prepaying for a 5-star hotel. It's not it's just everything you want. And if you want a budget, which, you know, we're parents, I get it.
100%.
Like, loads of people are like, we don't want to go 100%. And spend 2,000 on a room and then get extras because my kid wanted pasta and
I think there's definitely a place for that.
Yeah, they can budget.
I look at it. I mean, I went to Mauritius and stayed at the Residence down there, an amazing hotel as well. And that was, you know, it's all inclusive, but again, all inclusive has a bad name sometimes. But that was, you know, it's really, really good and also quite pricey. So it doesn't necessarily mean cheap. Yeah, it's just your meals are included. In the price.
You prepaid for them. Exactly. And the same thing with boutique hotels. You know, before boutique hotels, you know, maybe they were not as high a standard, and it was more like, you know, kind of what people are doing now, with maybe more Airbnb style. Yeah. But now boutique hotels are, maybe without official ratings, some of them, but they are 5-star luxury. Yeah. Just smaller, I mean, you have intimate.
Some of them, right, that are absolutely amazing.
Amazing.
I was just looking at a place called Thyme down in the Cotswolds, and it took them like 20 years just to make the garden, and they just opened. Goodness. And some of them are absolutely amazing. Yeah. And I think, you know, boutique has had a bit of a throw around the name, like because it's not a protected name. Yeah. A lot of people are putting boutique on different things, so it can mean a lot of different things. But yeah, for me, boutique just means, you know, it's very, very curated. It's basically like a home. You know, we say that the Agora is kind of the home of a well-traveled friend. Yeah. So, you know, if you were to go to New York or whatever, you would prefer to stay with a good friend of yours rather than stay at a hotel, because you know that you're going to get a much more curated experience, right? Your friend knows that the deli on the corner over here is better than the deli on the corner over there, right? So you should go there, and you'd kind of get guided. Yeah. Your stay would be guided more by somebody that you trust. And that's kind of our place here is being that home of a well-traveled friend, to be able to curate your experience and guide you through your stay.
I love that. So what's your favorite thing about Cyprus that has kept you here?
It's definitely the nature. And when I say nature, it's the versatility of the nature, right? Because I'm a mountain person. I love being in the mountains. I love the the majesticness of mountains. And Emily loves the sea. And I like the blue, like the crystal clear blue sea. I like more the ruggedness of like going to the Blue Lagoon and stuff like that. But to be able to have both is just, yeah.
In a small proximity as
In a
well to
relatively
do,
small proximity. I can go cycling for hours and hours and hours and go on new roads and not meet any cars, which is also one of the most amazing things in the mountains. And just every corner I turn around, it's just like a new wow experience. And then you can go down to the sea and just like put your bike, jump in the sea. An amazing experience. Definitely the nature. And then I think I fell in love with the people a little bit later, and more so the people in the mountains, because that for me is, again, that's like the authentic, unspoiled. They haven't been dealing with tourists a lot. You go up there, and I remember just like, I think it was in Trisilies. I don't know if you've ever been to Trisilies.
Yeah.
I sat down. I was on a long bike ride. I sat down and like this old woman just came out with orange pie that she'd just baked from like a house round the corner and like offered me orange cake. And this chap at the coffee shop was like, "I'm paying for your coffee." And I was like overwhelmed by kindness, which is the
So
Cypriot
sweet.
hospitality, right? That is really what it is. And a lot of the times when you're in cities or bigger towns, you don't experience that at all.
Not at
But
all. You barely get a hello.
Yeah.
You know, we're back to what's wrong with you saying hello.
Exactly. And I think that's what really, when I was really like, okay, the village life is for me. I really like that. I really like the community aspect of it, looking out for each other. I love the hospitality that they have. That's something that I can really stand in for.
Amazing. Oh my goodness, thank you for sharing all of this.
Of course.
So I ask everyone, and I have to ask you, what's your favourite quote?
My favourite quote? Oh.
It could be a mantra that you say every day. It could be something, you've read.
I was telling somebody the other day that I'm not much for quotes, but I do have this one quote. I think the grass is not greener on the other side. The grass is the greenest where you water it. Is one of my favorite quotes.
So true.
And I think we live in a day and age where we're looking at Instagram and we're looking at, oh, it would be so nice to be over there or have a big yacht or fly private or, you know, all of these things. And you're not really focusing on what actually makes a difference for me right now and here, where I can build a better future or whatever. So water the grass you're standing on and not look at the neighbor's grass. I think
which is often fake. Anyway.
Which is often fake anyway.
It's not
or
even
they're
real.
at least showing you a picture of really nice grass and, you know, it's not there or it's photoshopped or whatever. So,
very, very true. Absolutely.
Yeah. Focus on yourself and,
and love yourself and know that you're enough.
Yeah, exactly.
So, bonus question.
Okay.
This is the final one. Pull any piece of paper out. The team at San Rafael write these. They don't know who's going to pick them. They sometimes write who wrote it.
This is by George Stilianu.
Oh, okay. Our accountant.
Really?
He's our financial controller. He's an accountant, but he's our financial controller.
Okay.
He's our money man.
It says, what's a book, movie, or TV series that changed your perspective on life? Changed my perspective.
George, that's quite deep for you.
It is.
In numbers.
I don't know if there's any one. You know, I don't have the patience to read books. And I would love to be able to, but I simply cannot unless...
Can you listen to them?
No, because I think hearing for me is one of the senses that I really cherish, and I have really, really good hearing. And I feel that when I listen to things, even music, I don't listen to a lot of music like where I put it in my ears, because it's kind of like walking around with...
because you want to enjoy what's actually there.
It's a very big part for me of like when I'm traveling or whatever, I need to hear everything. Every little sound is for me interesting or intriguing. So, but I love, when I do read, I love reading biographies about sports people. And it's something that within sports, you have to have so much discipline. And it's more discipline than we have to have in business or whatever, because it's like, first of all, you have to sacrifice your whole childhood, or at least like youth, where all your mates are having fun, all your mates are going to parties, and you have to be the serious one that eats right, doesn't drink, does your training,
Sleeps well, goes
sleeps
to bed
well.
early,
Exactly. And if you
gets
want to
up
become
early.
a champion, then that's just a sacrifice you have to make. And I think that the mentality behind becoming an elite sports person is so intriguing and so interesting to me, and can be kind of put into the business world, right? If you can get that mentality with whatever you do, if you run hotel with that mentality, it cannot be anything but a success, because you've dedicated so much of yourself to that. You know, it's so easy to break a diet. It's so easy to go to bed late.
And just how little, I think in sports, we can learn so much. I mean, I'm not a sports person, but I'm active, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But like the biggest example it's used over and over again, I think the last 3 or 4 years, but is the British cycling team. Like how just a small increments, tiny things, all put together collectively, made an Olympic team.
And it's the same thing with everything in your life.
Just small changes at 1 degree.
Go to bed at 10 instead of 11, 12.
Yeah.
Get up at 6, or like just these things. And
Yeah.
I'm no saint by all means, but I love that.
But if that's more the norm as opposed to, at least the 80-20 rule or something. Yeah,
so I love, there's no book in particular, but I love books that really capture the essence of that kind of discipline.
Yeah.
I think that's great.
Is there any sports personality that in particular you're like, yeah, that's an inspiration? Or
no, I think all of them. All of them. Just like, I mean, look at Roger Federer, right? All of these guys are just machines. And if you're able to balance private life and family life and stuff, I mean, that's you've got my
Hats
respect.
off to them.
100%. 100%. Yeah.
Absolutely. Alex, thank you so much. This has been fantastic.
Thank you.
It's been really, really interesting. I barely looked at the questions that I'd written because, we just had such a nice chat. So really appreciate it. Wish you every success, you and Emily.
Thank you so much. Hopefully we'll be opening more hotels as well.
So. Yeah, and we're waiting for you to come to San Rafael as well. Yeah. You're opening more hotels?
It's in the pipeline.
In Cyprus or abroad?
In Cyprus. Cyprus is
exciting.
Our home.
Okay, so you heard it here first.
Yeah, exactly.
Love it. Thank you so much and all the best.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you for listening, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button because it helps us more than you may realize. If you are planning on coming to visit us at St. Raphael Resort and Marina, feel free to email our reservations team quoting Hotel Talk and receive an exclusive offer just for you. We look forward to seeing you soon, hearing your feedback about our show, and producing many, many more interesting episodes just for you, our listener, and our valued guest in mind. Thank you so much, and take care.